All right, so we want to find where this graph starts. Now, where do you want to look on the graph to find out if it's a sine? What do you look for to see if it's a sine graph you want to do first? The origin. So does this function go through the origin? No. So that means sine is going to have a phase shift. It means you've been moved right or left somewhere. So that's going to be harder. You get on this? Now, what's the next thing I should look for on the y-axis? What do I look for if it's cosine? The max or the min. Does this have a max or a min on the y-axis? No, that means cosine is also phase shift. So this is harder, and this is like the 38 one we're going to do in a little while. So there's a phase shift on all of these. So that means there's going to be a C value that's not 0 on any of these. Okay? Which makes it harder. So what I'm going to do first of all is I'm going to find my period. So how do you find a period? There's 3 ways I showed you last on Tuesday. How do you find your period? 3 ways. All I need is 1. Can anybody tell me? Huh? You can go max to max. So I can go from this max over here to this max. Or I can go from this max over here to this max. It might be easier to do these two because this one's not given to me down here. I think you can probably figure out what it is. But I'm going to use these two. So I got 0.75 pi minus a negative 1.25 pi. What's minus a negative give me? Plus a positive. Anybody know what 0.75 plus 1.25 is? 2 pi. There's my period. So I have a period of 2 pi. Okay? So that means my intervals are going to be 2 pi divided by 4, which is pi over 2. So I want to, this, in other words, this is a tick mark. That's pi over 2 from this part. And then this would be pi over 2 more. That'd be pi over 2 more. This would be 2.75 out here if you want to go. So all these tick marks, are 2 pi over 2 from each other. All right. Now, do you want to do a sine graph first or a cosine? I don't care. All right, we're going to do cosine first. So we want to find a what on the graph? A max. So I want to find a max. Actually, we probably should have done D first. So D is a maximum, which is 2, plus a minimum, which is negative 2, all divided by 2, which ends up being 0. So D is 0. So I've got to count. I'm going to go ahead and get A. Where do you guys want to put? First of all, we got to figure out where do you want to put your fake y-axis? Anybody? Where do you want to put it? And by the way, can someone tell me where do you want to put it since we're doing cosine? You want to go here or do you want to go here? You want to do the min or do you want to do the max? I don't care. It'll change the A. Which one do we do? You want to do the minimum? Over here, this is 0.25, is that right? Yeah. Okay, so we're going to put the y-axis over here. So this is the fake y. What should you label this? Y prime. It's not the real y. So we're going to call this y prime. So what does that make my A value for this? Negative, because I'm going down from the x. 2. That would be negative 2. How would A have changed if I had put the y prime here? It'd be positive 2 because I'm starting at the max. Y'all thumbs up on that? Show me if your thumbs up with what I'm saying there. If you start at a max, use the positive A. If you start at a min, use the negative A. So far, and I probably should put the amplitude. We just found the period was 2 pi. And what's the phase shift? How far did we move this y from here over to there? This is negative 0.25 pi. Okay? All right, so far I've got y equals negative 2 cosine. And I want to find B. How do I find B? B is 2 pi divided by the what? Period. What did we find the period was? 2 pi. So what's 2 pi divided by 2 pi? So B is 1. So if you want to put a 1 there, you can. You don't have to. You can just put an X. Am I going too fast? And you remember, we got a 0 out here. If you want to put a plus 0 out there again, you can, but adding 0 does nothing, so I'm just going to leave it off. Now I need to find C. Well, C is equal to negative B times the phase shift. Do you need me to go over where this came from again? Anybody need me to do that again? So it should have been in your notes from Tuesday. All right. So, what was my B? It was 1. So I got negative 1. What was my phase shift? We just did it right here. Negative 0.25 pi. So that means my C is going to equal, what's negative 1 times negative 0.25 pi? Positive 0.25 pi. I would put 1/4 pi or pi over 4 here, but I don't know. Do you guys like decimals better? And there's my graph. There's my function right there. All right, we're going to go and we're going to find what it is in sine. I've already told you there are 2 things that never change in each problem. Anybody know what they are? A and what? D. A and D don't change. I said that. Did you say A? Yeah. B, A can change. Oh. B and D don't change. B and D don't change. A can change sign. So A could be a positive 2 or negative 2. It depends on what we do. It depends on where we put what? The y prime. So we're getting rid of this one because we're done with this y prime because that was the cosine one. Now to be a sine graph, it's got to go through what? Origin. Where do you want to move the y-axis to make it go through an origin? Anybody? Yeah, do you see right here? It could have been here, could have been here, could have been here, could have been here. I normally put it at the closest one, so I'm going to try to draw a halfway straight one here, coming down through 0.25 y. All right, so here's my question for you. What does the sine graph usually do from the origin? You usually go from an origin where to the right? Do you go to a max or do you go to a min? A what? Nope. Max. You go up. The sine graph normally goes up. So since we are going up, and that's what it normally does, what kind of 2 are we going to have here? Positive. If we would have gone down, this would have been a negative 2. Okay, now we need to find C. So again, this C is still equal to negative B times the phase shift. And we already know B is 1, so it's negative 1 times how far did we move the y? 0.25 pi. So negative 1 times 0.25 pi is negative 0.25 pi. So this is going to be minus 0.25 pi. And there's my 2 graphs.